All right. Shalom, shalom. Giving all praises to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, Ba'Shem Kahakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Shalom to the hopeful elect. All right. We're going to title this video, Some Men Are Too Emotional to Endure in This Truth. Okay. Some men are just too emotional to carry forward, man. All right. When it comes down to rebuke and correction and adversity, personal adversity that, we got to go through in this truth, you got some men that come into this truth and they face those challenges. And as soon as they face those challenges, they start complaining. You know what I'm saying? If a brother gets on their ass, the nigga throw a tantrum. You know what I'm saying? He start being petty. He start trying to get the brother back on some sneaky shit. You see, you got to understand, man. We came up in a Western society, right? We came up in Babylon, man. You know what I'm saying? And, in Babylon, we were taught, that, what could I say? Not to take orders, not to be obedient to anything, free will, right? Make excuses for our shortcomings. You know what I'm saying? These are things that we learned in America, which is total bullshit, because when you go into our culture as Israelites, okay, it's all about correction. It's all about, adversity and rebuke and taking it like a man. All right. Being a soldier. OK. And a lot of these men that come in this truth and they can't handle this type of adversity. They're not soldiers. All right. They're peasants. They're civilians. They're not able to, put themselves on the front line and keep their emotions in check. Right. Let me get this in Chat GPT. Right. I put in Chat GPT, I put soldiers keeping their emotions in check when taking orders. Right. Because that's something that you have to learn in this truth, man. You have to learn how to take orders from another man. OK. You know what I mean? And check this out. The man you're taking orders from, he might be younger than you. You know what I'm saying? You might be 36. He might be 22 years old. Right. But he's been in the truth longer than you. Right. He might have a higher rank than you or however it may be. Right. And guess what? Now you got to take orders from somebody that's, over a decade younger than you, man. See, you got to get your emotions completely in check when you come to serve the Lord, man. Because this ain't about you and, what you feel is fair. Right. We're relearning, how to conduct ourselves according to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai's standard. All right. This is a culture that we lost how to be in order. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of guys, they don't know how to take that order. Right. Because a lot of these niggas didn't grow up with a male figure. They grew up under their mama. A lot of you niggas grew up. All you've known is the black woman. Right. So you throw a tantrum like the black woman. You don't like to keep accountability. You don't like to hold yourself responsible like black women. All right. And that's not how we conduct ourselves in this truth, man. All right. We got to be soldiers. So let me read this real quick. It says this is Chat GPT, soldiers keeping their emotions in check when taking orders. It says military training places a strong emphasis on emotional control, especially in high pressure situations. You see that? And this truth, okay, this is a high pressure situation, man. You're being bombarded with all sorts of adversities. You know what I'm saying? And you got to know how to, stand strong through it all. That's why the scriptures say, he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. Endure what? Endure all of the adversity that comes your way. Okay, so this truth is definitely a high pressure situation right here, man. All right, not many people on the earth can do this job. Okay, let me say that again. Not many people on the earth can do this job, man. All right. It says the goal is not to eliminate emotions, but to prevent emotions from interfering with decision making and mission execution. A soldier may feel fears, anger, sadness, frustration, or even disagreement with an order. However, they are trained to focus on the task rather than their feelings in the moment, follow lawful orders quickly and efficiently, trust the chain of command in the larger plan, stay disciplined under stress, process emotions later when the situation is safe. You see that? And these are key elements that we have to apply to our walk in this truth, man. All right. You know, because we seen what happened to dudes that don't want to keep this type of order, that don't want to apply this. Right. They fizzle away. You know, a lot of these niggas have gotten offended and then they just start talking shit. You know what I'm saying? You know, these is niggas that are not able to keep their emotions in check, man. All right. Because in this truth, you're going to get offended quite a few times, man. All right. You're going to get offended, man. Right. And a lot of the offensives that, you know, you go through, a lot of it may be shit that you don't even understand. You're offended according to your Western mentality. Right. Like a brother might tell you something about yourself, might rebuke you or tell you something about yourself. Right. And you may look at it like, oh, man, why that brother acting like that, man? That's serious. But you know what I'm saying? But that's that Western mentality inside of you. Right. You got to process, like it says right here, process emotions later when the situation is safe. OK, you got to be a soldier through these things, man. All right. Let me get a scripture real quick. OK, this is Matthew 18:7. It says, woe unto the world because of offenses, for it must needs be that offenses come. Right. So in this truth, there's going to be times when your emotions get stirred up about certain situations, right? Personal adversities you might go through. Right. Because a lot of Jakes, they come into this truth and they think that this is going to be the YMCA, the Boys and Girls Club, until he start catching that hell. And you know, shit just start falling apart like a domino effect on them. Right. So offenses is going to come, man. Emotions is going to get stirred up, man. OK. But let me keep reading. It says, but woe to that man by whom the offense cometh. You see, any man that gets offended and holds a grudge and can't keep on and doesn't have a soldier mindset, you're going to be destroyed. All right. You're going to be destroyed because the Lord has no use. And I'm going to just go ahead and say it. The Lord has no use for a bitch ass nigga like that. All right. A nigga that can't take orders, a nigga that you tell him something, he get all fucking fidgety. You know what I'm saying? A nigga throw a tantrum. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you, man, you know, there were dudes around I used to see, man. You know, you could tell Jake the simplest thing about himself. Right. You trying to help him. And then the shit will turn into a goddamn 2-hour debate because this nigga just cannot take accountability for his wrongdoings. You know what I'm saying? You know, I used to see dudes like that. And guess what? A lot of them niggas is no longer here. All right. Because you can't be overly emotional like that and be successful in the work of Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai. It's not going to work, man. OK, you got to keep your emotions in check. You got to be a soldier in this thing, man. All right. This ain't about you. All right. This ain't about you, man. All right. A lot of you Jakes, you got that. You got your mama in you, man. All right. Straight up. Let me see if we can let's just read these next two paragraphs. It says, for example, during combat, a soldier might be terrified. Right. And yeah, and these adversities that we go through, man, sometimes this shit is scare you because, you know, the Lord could have you in a constant state of uncertainty because, you know, like Micah 2:10 says, this is not our rest. Everything is not supposed to go perfect on this side, man. OK, there's going to be ups and downs, man. There's going to be times where, you know, you're up, right? And then there's going to be times when you're down and you don't know how you're going to pay your rent. You don't know how you're going to put that gas in your car, right? You know, you might have to call brothers. Hey, man, brothers, can you let me hold $20 so I could get something to eat for the next couple of days or something like that, right? So these situations that we'll be placed in this truth, okay, could you know, it could scare you, especially if you coming out of the world, right? Because in the world, it's all about chase comfortability, right, and certainty. But in this truth, it's a lot of uncertainty, right? It's because the Lord wants you to depend on him 100%. OK, that's why the scriptures say man shall not live off bread alone, but by the words of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. OK, roughly paraphrasing. All right. It says instead of panicking, they rely on training, repetition, and discipline to continue performing their duties. Right. We have to rely on what was taught to us, man. The Lord already gave us the blueprint. All right. This is why you got to read, man. All right. There's stories. There's plenty of examples, right, that we could take from, right, on how to keep your emotions in check. I'll give you two examples. Abraham, right, when he was told to sacrifice his son Isaac. Now, the Lord ended up not even permitting Abraham to go all the way through with the sacrifice, right? But the Lord wanted to test his heart. The Lord wanted to test his integrity, right? And Abraham, because, you know, any man in this world, if you tell them to sacrifice their son, they're going to get emotional quick. What the fuck you mean? No, that's my son, man. I ain't doing that. What the hell? You know? But Abraham, he had to bite the bullet and he had to put his emotions to the side and fulfill the will of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, man. All right. And then another example, you got David and Saul. OK, Saul was trying to hunt David down, man, trying to hunt him to the ends of the earth, trying to kill him. And David kept his emotions in check. There was even a time when David could have put Saul to death. David had to drop on him. But David was so in control of his emotions and not letting, you know, all of that, you know, bullshit fester in his mind that he had to think logical and said, I can't kill Saul. Saul is the king of Israel. What the hell I'm going to do? Why would I kill him? You know what I mean? Even though he's trying to kill me, I'm just going to have to take the low, right? See, this truth, you're going to have to take the low a lot, man. OK, you know, you throwing a tantrum, you trying to be petty, OK, is not going to get you anywhere in this thing. All right. This is not the elementary school playground. OK, because in elementary school, you throw a tantrum in the classroom and the teacher, the principal, everybody comes to your defense and, oh, are you OK? Is everything OK? You know, and the motherfuckers start rubbing your back, telling you good words of affirmations, right? That's not gonna happen in this thing, man. Okay, you're gonna have to take some tough adversity and you're gonna have to suck that shit up like a man. Okay. It says the same applies to receiving difficult orders. They may not like the order, but they are expected to carry it out if it is lawful. You see, if it is lawful, all right? And a lot of you dudes, because, you know, you niggas can't see outside yourself, all right? You know, you know, a brother might tell you something, and the brother might tell you something that's on point, right? He ain't telling you nothing wrong, but because you so goddamn emotional and you can't keep your emotions in check, right? You know, you'll throw a fit. I've seen niggas walk away. You know, we had a nigga in our camp, right? Nigga walked away because his first time of getting suspended, right? And we didn't even suspend him for that long. It really wasn't even a suspension. It was really more so like, bro, you know, take some time to get your mind right because you're not thinking clearly. You know, we wasn't mad at him. You know, it wasn't no harsh rebuke. It was just like, bro, we gotta kind of let you, you know, you got to take some time, bro, to get your mind right because you're not moving correctly, right? And instead of him thinking logically and being like, okay, let me examine my spirit, right? This nigga, you know, ran off and said, "No, fuck y'all here, man." See, he got emotional. You see, niggas like that, okay, are emotional. Let me give you another example of them. You know, niggas in well, I don't think they're just in L.A., but Yawakal, all right, Yawakal's little minions, okay, a bunch of emotional niggas, all right, a bunch of emotional niggas. I know a nigga like Thahawam, a demon. He's one of them niggas that run with them Yawakal niggas, right? And for those of you who don't know, you know, you know, it was an ex-GMS member named Yawakal. He got kicked out a long time ago for disorderly conduct, being emotional, right? So Yawakal went to go gather some what could I say, some low-hanging fruit that think just like him, and they started their own little collab or something like that. And all of them niggas is just some emotional rejects, right? I talked to a couple of them niggas, and when I talked to one of them, right, I walked up on one of them. I had a discussion with him, and, you know, I asked him straight up, "Hey, you got a problem with GMS or something?" And, you know, he tried to play it off like, "I don't have a problem with GMS." And, "No, I don't have a problem with GMS." But then as the conversation got deeper into it, the niggas start getting into, you know, little petty ass shit. You know what I'm saying? About GMS. I'm talking about petty shit. It was like, bro, what are you worried about that for? Right? I think one of the things he was kind of frustrated about was, you know, he came up to a GMS camp and brothers put him through the vetting process. Brothers, you know, because that's how brothers is. Your first time coming up to a GMS camp, we don't know you. You know what I'm saying? We're not gonna, you know, we're not gonna jump at you enthusiastically. We don't know you, man. You could be a fucking agent, right? But he thought everybody was supposed to come together and kumbaya with him, right? So when he came to brothers was kind of giving him that look like, "Who are you?" And he got offended at that. You see? That's why you gotta have your emotions in check, man, because, you know, this truth is for rough men. This is the big boys club right here, man. You know what I'm saying? Trust me, this is the big boys club. All right? You know what I'm saying? You know, that's why, you know, through the spirit, we have brothers stand on the other side, okay? And, hey, it might be for a whole year. You got to stand on the other side, man. All right? That's to see if you have your emotions in check. That's to see if, you know, you can regulate yourself. You can conduct yourself the correct way, man. Are you a soldier? All right? You know? And a lot of niggas are not soldiers, man. All right? A lot of niggas in Israel are not soldiers, man. They're civilians that have picked up the Bible, okay? And they're hooting and hollering like they're real men of the Lord, but really they just some clowns behind the curtain, man. Okay? Let me get some scriptures. I'm done with that chat GPT. This is Sirach, Ecclesiasticus 2, starting at verse 12. Let's start at 12. It says, "Woe be to fearful hearts and faint hands in the sinner that goeth two ways. Woe unto him that is faint-hearted, for he believeth not, therefore shall he not be defended." Okay, faint-hearted, right? And that's all emotions. Okay, getting scared, panicking, right? You know. You know, you go through a certain situation. I done seen this too, man, where, you know, dudes come into the truth, go through their little adversity, and they just panic their way all the way out the truth. "Oh, this is too much. Oh, man." You know what I mean? And it be little shit too. I don't know how, man, my goddamn car broke down, man. What am I going to do, man? And, you know, brothers, hey, man, just relax, bro, and pray to the Lord. Man. Nigga tripping. You know what I'm saying? See, that's the faint-hearted. That's somebody that, you know, their heart is not in the right place. They don't really believe in Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. They're emotional. Okay? You cannot be emotional in this thing, man. All right? I'll give you a testimony, right? When I first came into the truth, all right, my first 6 months into the truth, right, you know, I was standing on the other side at the GMS LA camp, right? My first 6 months into the truth, I wasn't hanging out with nobody, right? You know, I didn't have really too many brothers to hang out with. But once, you know, brothers kind of start opening up to me, and I start hanging out with brothers after about 6 months in, right? Me coming fresh out the world, I thought it was just going to be, the regular relationship that you have with homies in the world, laughing, joking, eating chicken, hanging out all day. And boy, was I wrong. Now, we did have those times, but man, I probably got rebuked and corrected the most, man. I'm telling you, and I understand. Now I understand, now that I'm a lot more seasoned in this truth, and I've been in for, a good while. I'm not no elder or nothing, but hey, I've been in this truth a good minute, to know what's going on at least, right? But now I understand, because when I was fresh coming out the world, I was very presumptuous, hasty, and ignorant to how things really went. You know what I'm saying? So I used to get rebuked and corrected all the time, man. And I used to, the brothers I used to hang out with, I was the youngest in the spirit. So I was kind of like the baby of the group. So brothers used to get on my ass all the goddamn time. It felt like sometimes brothers would team up on me, you know what I'm saying? Or take turns on me. That's how much I used to get corrected, right? And I'm going to tell you like this. Not one time out of all that time I got corrected did I ever throw some big ass tantrum. Did I ever storm off? Did I ever blame and redirect blame on brothers, or try to come back later and do something petty to the brother? Man, I took it like a man, right? And I'm saying that humbly, right? Because I went through that trial period, and there's brothers that are just now coming into the truth, right? That you're going through that trial period, right? Where you first come out of the world, and you first starting to get around brothers, and you might be a young brother amongst brothers that's been in for a while, and you getting corrected all the time, right? It's not nothing to take offense to. You have to understand, you're coming out of the world, right, from a Western mentality. All of that gunk and all of that filth has to be removed out of your spirit, man. So yeah, when you first come in, a lot of the times you're gonna get corrected a lot, man, right? But you got to take that shit on the chin. I took that shit on the chin, man. I took it like a fucking man, right? And that's kind of what warranted respect, my respect amongst brothers, right? Where brothers kind of respected me, because it's like, damn, we getting on this brother a lot, and he's always here. He takes it like a man. He don't sit there and try to rebuttal. He's honest. He accepts it, right? And that kind of got me my respect amongst brothers. And that's, I believe through the spirit, that's kind of how I got to the point to where I'm at today, right? By not being emotional, man. Okay, even through my personal adversities, man. In this truth, I went through a lot of adversities. I'm still going through a lot of adversities, man. You know what I'm saying? But I take it like a fucking man. Okay, I don't sit there and make an excuse. Hang on, man. I knew this dude was gonna come by. I always notice, man, whenever you do a lesson, that's when people want to walk by you, and people want to see what you're talking about. Just them spirits. But yeah, man, I took it like a man. You know what I'm saying? I took it like a man. And I took it on the chin, man. You know what I'm saying? I didn't complain, right? Through my adversities. I didn't say, oh, it's too much, man. And be in that woe is me spirit and get offended, right? I took it like a man, because I understood the mission, man. All right. And Lord willing, I understand all the way into the end, man. Okay. So you can't be faint hearted. You can't get weak. All right. And you can't get offended, man. Emotions do get stirred up in this truth, right? But, hey, you got to keep your emotions in check, man. All right? You got to keep that shit in check, man. Let me get this last scripture right here. This is James 1 and 2 through 4. James 1, 2 through 4. It says, my brethren, count it all joy when ye fall into diverse temptations. Now, let me get that in a different translation. Okay? Diverse temptations. Okay? Come on now. God damn it. Here we go. James 1 and 2 in the NLT. Dear brothers and sisters, when troubles of any kind come your way, consider it an opportunity for great joy. You see that? Troubles of any kind come your way. Okay, you gotta look at the positives of these things, man. All right, and you can't always be sitting there, hoping to get an easy way out, man. All right. You know, a lot of Jakes want the easy way out all the time, man. All right. And this is why niggas don't last in this thing, man. All right. Because, hey, guess what? The biggest offense is getting ready to take place on the earth, man. All right. The mark of the beast. All right. The persecution. Right. And when Esau comes with that persecution against us, Esau is going to straight up lie on us, man. He's going to come up with a whole fluff story about the Hebrew Israelites and how we're terrorists and we're pedophiles and we're rapists, right? And us as men of the Lord, we can't sit there and get highly emotional and, hey, man, ain't right, man. No, man, ain't me. You know, and nigga make a, you know, you try to go sit down on a podcast and defend your name, okay? You got to be like Yahushua, right? When Yahushua was brought amongst, you know, the council of the ungodly, all right? And all of them niggas was in that crowd, coming up with all sorts of lies on him. He kept his mouth silent and he let them ignorant niggas think whatever the fuck they wanted to think, man. Right? He didn't get emotional and try to yell back at the crowd. Okay? He kept his emotions in check. He was a soldier through it, man. All right? And took it on the chin, man. So when we come into, you know, any kind of trouble, right, as it says, diverse temptations, okay, we got to take it on the chin, all right? And, this is what the scriptures prepared us for, to suffer for a Mashiach's sake, man, okay? Verse 3, it says, knowing this, that the trying of your faith worketh patience. But let patience have her perfect work, that ye may be perfect and entire, wanting nothing. You see, you got to have patience. Whether you get rebuked, corrected, you go through your adversities, you got to have patience, man. You got to let the Lord work these type of things out, man. All right. And not try to take matters into your own hands. OK, don't be hasty. All right. Don't be hasty to just think you know what's going on. OK, because sometimes the Lord will put you in a situation that hurts. Right. Situation that you may not understand. And it may be a tough situation. Right. But you can't be hasty and try to take matters into your own hands and do something carnal, right? And fuck off your salvation because of you have an emotional tantrum, okay? So we have to keep our emotions in check, man, because I've seen a lot of dudes in this truth, man, get chipped off because they were too goddamn emotional, man. They had that mama boy spirit in them, man. See, that mama boy spirit, right? You know, somebody say something to you, you automatically rebuttal. Somebody say something to you, 2 days later, you do something back to them to get, to try to get even. That's the wrong way to think in this thing, man. Okay, you got to take whatever told to you, especially if it's the right thing. You got to take what's told to you, okay, as a man, all right? You got to think logically and spiritually about these things, man, because, remember, the Lord is sharpening us up, right? We're going through these adversities and through these situations to get tough, man, because I'm telling you, man, the real what can I say, adversity is getting ready to happen, man. All right. A lot of these niggas that can't take being told what to do, a lot of these niggas that are soft and weak, when Esau comes down with the hammer upon the Hebrew Israelite identity, a lot of niggas is going to give it up, man. A lot of niggas is going to denounce Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai because they too goddamn emotional and they care about the public's perception of them and they don't want to be humiliated, man. Okay? So the Lord is toughening us up right now to teach us how to be humiliated, how to deal with it, right? So when the world blames us, right, even though it may not be true, we know how to stand firm and be like our Lord Yahushai and be stoic, right? And be tough about it, okay? So, Lord willing, this was an edifying lesson. I'll close it out and give all praises to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. To the next time, Shalom, Shalom.